Hi. I always do this. I always tell myself, like, you're going to rock this intro. It's going to be so hip. It's going to be cool. You're going to hook them right away. You're going to get them ready to be a part of your thing. Why am I doing this? Hi, my name is Amanda. I'm not a good YouTuber. Hi. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to have a breakdown on national television. Probably. Actually, what I'm going to be doing is exploiting the breakdowns of others on national television, because today we're going to be taking a look at all of the scandals that have happened on my Animal Crossing island. The game that I bought for relaxation purposes ended up becoming a dumpster fire pretty quick. If you know me from TikTok, you know that my island, I don't even know why or how. It all happened so fast, but basically my island is a non-stop drama, scandals. Everybody is always fighting. I've never done a tier list before. I do like watching them and stuff, but I've never done one, and I decided that I was going to do a tier list ranking all of my island's scandals, just so that we could revisit the past and really kind of work through what has led us to the state of my island today. You know, where it started, maybe who the key players are in the destruction of our community, and just kind of go over, like, you know, just a little bit of a walk down memory lane, especially since I think TikTok's going away. I don't know, they've done this a few times now, and it made me really emotional the first time they did it, and now that they're doing it again, I don't know. I don't want to get emotional every time because it's stupid, and ADD is also my brand. It is my life. I live with it every day, if you haven't noticed. What I was trying to say is that I am going to be doing a tier list of all of my island's scandals, and I think that we just need to do that right now because that's the video concept. So let's do it because this is the video. I need to stop. So I figured I would set up one of the basic, simple tier lists for my first one. I wouldn't go overboard with any kooky names. Just keep it normal so I don't mess anything up. Because it's my first one, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I like to think I do. And that's the entire channel that you're watching currently, actually. So for this tier list, we've got all of our scandals down there, all of the most notable scandals, all of my favorite scandals. There's been so many, so I apologize in advance if I've forgotten any that you liked that I put on TikTok. I think this is all of them, but how could I even know? Honestly, there's been so many. And just like any old tier list, we've got our S tier, which is the top, the cream of the crop. That is going to be our historic moments, our historic scandals that have literally defined the island. They've changed the island, the community forever, and everyone involved. They've taught me life lessons, and they are iconic, for lack of better words. And then, of course, down at the bottom, we have the D tier, which is going to be forgettable situations, things that happened, but then the next day everybody was over it, or we can't even really recall it. We have to literally look at the video evidence to even remember that it happened. Everybody got over it. Everyone was fine. Everyone survived to the next day. And then these in between, of course, as you can imagine, are just going to be situations where maybe something happened and we still talk about it from time to time, but we're mostly over it. Of course, A is still a really good tier. That's going to be stuff that we still to this day talk about. We reference it, but maybe it didn't like actually change and shock the community for better or worse. You know, some of the A scandals are the best ones. They just didn't really cause any lasting effects. And then B is going to be stuff that I love, but maybe it was just, again, kind of stuff that could have rolled right off your back and you can keep moving on. C is going to be, I guess, better than D, like where we still remember, we'll never forget, but that's about it. We're just like, oh yeah, that was weird. And we moved on with our lives for the most part. Of course, the best place to start is always the beginning. And so we're going to start with the scandal that not only changed the island and the community, but my own life, because up until then, you know, I bought New Horizons and I thought it was going to be like a relaxing situation. Like I've stated before, I thought it was just going to be a game that was going to help me get through something really weird that was happening on my planet. You may know what I'm referencing. Of course, as an Animal Crossing fan, I was already planning on getting it anyway. But I was like, this is the perfect game to get us through this unprecedented time where we're worrying about things. I don't want to worry about anything. I'm going to buy this game and play it. But here I am worrying about everything because these people won't stop fighting. What am I to do? I had a villager that was one of my starters. His name is Goose. You may or may not know him. And when I first took a look at Goose, I mean, I'd seen Goose before in all the other Animal Crossing games, but I was like, oh, Goose, okay, big whoop. He'll be in and out. I'll make quick work of him, I assure you. He actually ended up making quick work of me, okay? Goose is a fuck boy. For lack of better words, Goose is a mess. He's a danger to society, and I didn't quite realize just how much until my girl Pompom stepped on the scene. I found Pompom on one of my first mystery islands, and of course, I had to take her, and I was like, Pompom, I could take her or leave her. She'll probably come and then she'll go, just like Goose. But Pompom and me ended up quickly becoming friends, and Pompom is the type of bitch who's been there, done that. Okay, she knows a fuckboy when she sees one, and I was getting wrapped up in Goose. I guess it was because I was deprived of male attention, because on my island at that time, we had Phoebe, Pompom, Daisy, Goose, and Hornsby. Hornsby's a child. He was out of the running. I'm a Libra. I'm thirsty as hell. I need a man immediately. I need to latch myself to a man. I'm sorry, but I do. At least in the game. We're not going to talk about my own personal issues. But yeah, I needed a romantic prospect, and Goose was really the only option for me. So I was starting to lean towards the Goose option as like a for now situation. But I knew that he was playing games. I knew that he might be dangerous. And Pompom that day, Pompom to tell me to stop talking to this dick, he's gonna wreck my life. Pompom's like, stay away from her. She's too good for you. Are they fighting? Are they gonna oh! My girl went to fucking bat for me. She really pointed it out for me, and it started, honestly, a movement. It was the beginning of an era, because Goose, since that day, has only continued to live up to the exact profile that Pompom gave to him on that day. She profiled his ass, and he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. No, she pinned him. And on that day, not only did she pin Goose, but she also secured her place on that island forever. She's my bitch, and we have been through some ups and downs, as we will go over, but she's my girl for life because of that. And you know what? I hate to admit it. I know that a lot of you are confused by this, but Goose also kind of cemented himself into the culture of my island from that day on. He's the resident fuckboy, and I guess we need him. I can't really tell you why. I think it's just because I've gotten accustomed to the drama. I guess I like it now because I have issues. I'm unhealthy. I'm toxic. I don't know. I need him, okay? Don't ask me why. He's not going anywhere. That is the pinnacle of S-tier scandal right there. The next scandal that took place on my island was one that involved a villager that I never could have expected, but from then on with that villager, it just, again, went downhill. Things tend to go downhill on my island. I think my island is just kind of on a slope, and things just tend to roll downwards because of the nature of the actual geography of my island. So Hornsby, he was never an issue until he was. One day, Hornsby came up to me stomping around like an infant. Pompom is like a mean bug who bites you and all you want to do is talk. Maybe you're talking shit. No, she's not. Clearly, I have got to get the tea from my girl because he's out here stomping like an infant. You're in the town square throwing a fit. Grow up. Okay, Pompom, listen to this shit. Hornsby is stomping around. She's like, Hornsby who? He never quite ended up mentioning the actual offense. He was just complaining and stomping around in the town square like an infant, complaining to me and anyone who would listen about my best friend, my bitch, That was the day I was done fucking with Hornsby. Me and Hornsby from that moment had beef. And yeah, we kind of got over it, but we never really recovered. And so as soon as he asked to move out, I let his ass go because he called my best friend a stale potato chip. And he didn't even tell me why. Not only did Hornsby just kind of piss me off that day, but he also cemented the town square as the epicenter of tea and of drama on that day. He was stomping around, and I think he kind of just made it, he kind of leveled it and just made it the place that everybody goes to bitch. So for that reason, I think Hornsby, honestly, I will say that it was important because it was one of the founding scandals, but we really don't talk about it. I don't think many people remember Hornsby. So I'm going to put it for now in B, just because it was pretty monumental, but we don't really talk about Hornsby anymore. Middle ground. So next is going to be the day that Goose first made Pompom cry. Pompom doesn't cry a lot. Just kidding. I take that back. She cries constantly about everything all the time. But the first time Goose made her cry, it personally offended me and the rest of the island, of course. It should have shown me the type of man he was, but unfortunately, I didn't even get the warning signs at that point. Because I don't know. Because I was desperate for male attention. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that he made Pompom cry on that day. And Pompom from then on out was done with his ass. Or so I thought. I feel like I still think about that to this day, but not many people do. Pompom would never admit it, so I would honestly put that in C. All right, so we've established that at this point in the timeline, this is March. It's been a long time. You must understand that I've come a long way and I've addressed my toxic traits. But at the time, Goose had me in the palm of his wing. And he was manipulating my mind. And even though he had made my friend cry, I still didn't quite grasp the severity of how shitty of a person he was. And so when I first saw him on a date with Phoebe, it crushed me. I will admit it crushed me. I saw it and I was like, was I not good enough? I thought we had something, but I didn't see that as, Goose is clearly a player. He's all over the place, and I should just not waste my time. But instead, I let that hurt me, and I let it permeate my soul. However, I forgot that it even happened. Because of all that I've been through and as far as I've come, nobody talks about it. Phoebe's gone. Goose is shit. I will say that I think that as much as it hurt at the time, I'm over it. I think everyone's over it. I would be willing to wager that Goose certainly doesn't remember that it happened. And so that is a D tier scandal, I would say. But at the time, people were definitely talking about it for about 3 days, and then it went away. All right, next, I would say it would be the first time Daisy ever found herself in the crosshairs. Now, I will say, as much as I love Daisy, a lot of people think that I don't love Daisy because I'm trying to get her to leave to make room for Anka. That is not the case. I love Daisy. I think that she's a gem. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention how many scandals this girl has found herself in the middle of. She just seems to invite drama into her life. I don't know if it's because she's so nice, if it's because she's naive, or if it's because she's secretly dramatic. But this was the first time that I ever saw Daisy acting up. And it was Goose's fault. I will be the first to admit it was Goose's fault. This was the big Goose-Daisy blowout of the town square.
What is going on in the town square? What is going on in the town square? This Daisy character just doesn't get it. Oh! What doesn't she get? She's unbothered again. Girl, I just...
Whoa! 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 That muscle sprain.
He is fucking pissed. She's about to fucking punch me.
Yeah. Dude, he's on roids. Goose on the juice.
Look at him sweating. She could not be any less invested. Oh my god. Another fucking meltdown in the town square.
Because of how mad Goose was that day, I feared for my safety. I was genuinely terrified of him. I don't think I've ever seen Goose as mad as he was that day. And it does stick in my brain, I will admit. Even though nothing really came of it, and I don't even know what they were fighting about, because by the time I had gotten to Daisy to ask her what happened, what went wrong, she had already forgotten it. Out of sight, out of mind, it was over in her brain. Goose took a while to get over this one, though. So I think between me and Goose, this one's sticking with us. This is a B tier scandal. I will never forget that because that was the first time I ever saw Daisy that angry. Not the last time, but the first time. And it was just a bit, I just couldn't believe what I had walked into. I just thought it was going to be a nice night. And then I walked into the town square and I was like, what is going on here? Because there was two individuals that were stomping around angry as hell. And I've never seen Goose that angry, and I hope I never see it again. Let's see. Then we had, oh my God. This was the day that everything came to a head. On this day, Goose and Pompom, they let their feelings be known for each other. This was the day that Goose and Pompom cemented one another as mortal enemies. I will never forget watching Pompom look at Goose the way she did. I would say that this is an A-tier scandal. Uh-oh, Goose is in the town square in his tank top, watching people as they walk by. Look at how he fucking watches her like she's a piece of meat. Acting like he's working out by the bulletin board. Ooh, look how they look at each other. She fucking did that. She fucking did that. Did you see that?
I didn't want to say anything. I'm glad I didn't, because that would have been...
That's my fucking bitch. She's like, you ain't fucking working out.
They were just like...
That Animal Crossing characters were capable of this level of petty. Because Pompom, she looked at Goose as she's walking by, right? She's like, they look at each other because they're in each other's line of sight. But after she gets to that, so there's like a, the angle. And after she gets past that, she kept fucking looking at him for about 2 seconds. She looked right over her shoulder to let him know, yep, yes, I am looking at you. Yes, this is intentional. This is entirely intentional, Goose. I see your ass. I see exactly who you are. I see right the fuck through you, Goose. Don't think I don't. I'm watching you. Pompom that day earned every single ounce of respect in my soul. I loved her in that moment. I had already loved her, but I loved her even more. And I got exactly what that bitch was about. She is down. She's down for you. She's down. She will not be fucking around anytime soon. She's just not here to do that. She really isn't. Even though she totally is and she's messed around several times, she's also really not here to mess around. And I couldn't believe my eyes. And neither could my husband. My husband was sitting there and I was telling him, my island is on fire. It's out of control. My villagers are fighting. And my husband's never played Animal Crossing in his life. He had no idea what we were in for. And he's like, Amanda, you're playing a game where you live in a village with animals, with little cartoon animals. How bad can it be? And he knows how like dramatic and over the top I am. So he thought I was really like just assigning these personalities to these animals. But that was the day that he realized, oh shit, like this is actually, she's not lying. That's an A-tier scandal if I ever saw one. And that was really the day that Pompom and Goose became enemies. And I loved that. So next, Benedict joined the island. And for better or worse, I don't know, Benedict was, I will be honest, I invited Benedict to the island because I wanted to make Goose feel like shit. I was being petty as hell. It was a new game to me. I thought I had all the villager hunts in the world, so I wasted one on Benedict. I thought he was going to be a better version of Goose. He was going to be a chicken who had his shit together. And I thought he was going to come to the island and make Goose look like shit. And I don't know, it's almost like it tried to happen. And then Benedict, being the lazy villager that he is, just gave up entirely and decided to just sleep for the rest of his time on our island. Like he did nothing after this. But one of his first days on the island, he actually did call Goose out. And he threatened to expose Goose. He was like, oh, you keep saying that you have this 8-pack. Why don't you go ahead and show us that you have your 8-pack? And Goose had a meltdown. And at the time when I was watching this happen, I truly thought that Goose and Benedict were going to fight. I thought I was going to see an Animal Crossing brawl. I really did. I was kind of excited, but Benedict, because he's lazy, ended up just de-escalating the entire situation. I think that Goose, 100%, if Benedict was willing to fight that day, Goose would have fought as well. And I just thought it was really funny because it was two chickens that had like opposite color schemes and they were really about to fight. And I was so excited. I thought it was going to be like the big fight scene in the Banana Splits movie. I bet almost none of you have seen that, but it's honestly so good if you love horror. It's like a modern day slasher, but it's the Banana Splits from Hanna-Barbera, and they're like killing people. And at one point, like the animatronic Banana Splits, like they're fighting, and it's so stupid and dumb and bad and stupid. And I love it. And I thought that was going to be the situation with Goose and Benedict. I thought I was going to see two chickens fucking throw down, and I didn't. As tense as the situation was, it's forgettable, unfortunately. Next, God. Oh, this was the first real blowout, in my opinion. So Pompom and me, we're like fucking this. We're so tight. And Pompom knows how much I'm dealing with. She knows that Goose is dragging me through the mud, that I'm looking for a good man. And at the time, I will say, I was totally, I don't know what was wrong with me. I just kept like settling for the first good villager I saw on my villager hunts. I still wasn't really used to being able to pick my own villagers. Even though we've been like able to do that for a while, I don't know. I was just scared. At the time, I didn't time travel. So I was like under, immense pressure to make it so that Tom Nook didn't fill that spot. Because the one time I let Tom Nook pick the villager, he picked Gloria, and we'll get to her. I didn't trust Nook to pick our villagers. So I would go out and pick the first decent villager I saw, and that's decent is a stretch. I would pick them. And so I picked Pierce because he looked like a really cute guy. I had actually never had Pierce on any islands before, even though he's been around for a while. And I was like, oh, he's cute. He's really handsome. Any eagle is going to be super handsome in my book. And Pierce is one of the most handsome eagles. So I picked Pierce. I think, again, it was a petty move because I wanted to make Goose feel like shit for being a bird, but not being Pierce. I had tried that with Benedict. It didn't work out at all. So I was like, Pierce is a jock. Pierce is a fellow fucking jock. He's gonna rock Goose's world. It's over for Goose. It's completely over for Goose. And I invited Pierce to the island, and I, being a Libra, was just instantly like, Pierce, hi. And I didn't even bother to get to know the guy. And I was just like, he's cute, so I'm going for him. I told Pompom that I had my sights set on Pierce. And I kid you not, Pompom, new guy Pierce, I went to his house the other day. I feel like we really hit it off. I really like him. Excuse me? I specifically told... She's not really gonna go with him. Oh God, wow. Looks like I'm being fucked over by my best friend in Animal Crossing. Fucking sick, love it. I gotta respect her for it now, but at the time, I couldn't believe her. She didn't. I couldn't believe her. I was like, Pompom, are you kidding me? You, of all people, are doing me like this? But it ended up working out for the best. It really did. Pierce and Pompom are a modern day Notebook. They are Noah and Allie. They are meant to be. They're star-crossed lovers. They are Romeo and Juliet, except not at all, even a little. Why did I say that? It's a trope. It's a cliche, but honestly, that wasn't even a good love story. They didn't even know each other, and they ended up, it was a bad situation for Romeo and Juliet. They are just a modern day love story. How about that? Your favorite love story. Think of that. That's Pompom and Pierce, and I can't believe I almost stood in the way of that. I really can't. But at the time, I'm not gonna lie, it hurt to have her go behind my back for Pierce. I wish that she had talked to me a little bit more about it, that she had come to me and told me, hey, like, I know you're thirsty and you're latching onto Pierce, but me and this guy have a true connection, and I think that I need to go for this. I think I'm gonna miss out on a true love connection if I just abide by the friend code, And I think I would have been able to get that, but at the time, because she was sneaking around with Pierce behind my back and not telling me about it like a best friend does, that's what hurt. You don't lie to your best friend, but it ended up absolutely shaping the nature of our island. It was our first fight. It was, I'll admit it. It was me and Pompom's first fight. However, it ended up rocking the island to its core because at the end of the day, Pompom and Pierce, they're a force to be reckoned with, and you don't get one without the other. They are one of the cutest couples I've ever seen in Animal Crossing history. And I'm not just like, this isn't just like OTP cute fanfic shit. Pompom and Pierce are always together, okay? They're in real life on my island. They are constantly in one another's house. They're constantly working out together, having picnics together. They're so cute. They're always borrowing shit from each other and then getting me to return it. Sometimes they do get in fights and then they have me go deliver presents to each other because they're a mess, but they're in love. I think that they are absolutely the real deal. Soulmates, whatever you want to call it. At the time, I was devastated, but it ended up working out for everyone. And even though it was a scandal with a happy ending, it still ended up shaping the island because Pierce and Pompom, they are a irreplaceable team on my island, and they are perfect for each other. And I would never, ever, ever split them up, ever. So going back to before I had accepted Pierce and Pompom, back when I was still hurt, I had taken some time to reflect, and then I went to go find Pompom to talk to her, and I found Pierce and Pompom on the beach sharing soda together, having this beautiful moment, and it killed me. It was too much for me to handle. And so I ran right into the arms of the monster. I ran right into Goose's arms and I spent the night with him. That was the night that me and Goose became a couple. And Goose is my ex. He's most well known as being my ex. So I would say that's an S tier scandal. That whole thing was really just S tier because me and Goose started dating from that moment on. And from that moment on, my life, I'm telling you, it's like the fucking King to Ka, you know, the steepest roller coaster of all. And it just is so steep. And that was my life. It's a roller coaster, a steep one. It goes like this. And sometimes people die on it, like me. I'm one of the people who died. And I died that night. A part of my soul died that night. So me and Goose are in a relationship now. It's awful. I'm being treated horribly. But I just don't know any better at that point. I'm not talking to Pom-Pom. Things are bad. Things are bad for me. So after that, I should say that Goose started to be a piece of shit. He was already a piece of shit, but he started I guess I just started spending more time with him and noticing how much of a piece of shit he was. So I was saving the Gloria thing for when she finally moves, but Gloria came to our island pretty early on. She was one of the first villagers in the first 10 that Tom Nook invited because I guess I wasn't fast enough in inviting a villager. And Gloria was the one who showed up. Gloria is... I have no words. I don't even want to talk about Gloria, but I will. Gloria was awful. She took forever to leave. I had to terrorize her nonstop because she just was the worst. I needed her out. She offered nothing to the island. She gave us nothing. She was friends with no one. No one liked her. And I told Goose this. I was like, Goose, we all are just ignoring Gloria until she leaves. Gloria has been nothing but mean and petty to me. I hate her. She's been awful to me. She's rude. She's my enemy. And Goose was like, yeah, that's cool, dude. Sure, right. And then I found him talking to Gloria. And then to make matters worse, when I started to walk up to them, they both were like, and they pretended they hadn't been talking as if I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot. And then on the same night, Goose asked to leave and I didn't let him. I still don't really have an explanation as to why. I guess it was because he was my boyfriend at the time, some boyfriend though. I would say that, to be honest, I had forgotten that this even happened until I was digging up drama. Even though this was the first shitty thing he did as my official boyfriend, it was the first of many. I don't know. They all flow into each other. And so it's a D tier scandal. So I am with Goose, not talking to Pom-Pom. I don't really have a lot of other friends. Daisy's my acquaintance. Phoebe's my acquaintance. I don't even remember Benedict. I'm not really talking to him. Not talking to Gloria. Chevre. You notice that Chevre's not in any of these. I wonder why. It's because she's never been in a scandal. God bless Chevre. That's what I have to say. Anyway, there was a day where I was standing with Goose, just kind of making sure that my decision was right. I kind of needed him in that moment. I had walked up to him and he blatantly checked out Phoebe in front of me to the point where he was like he didn't even try to hide it, and it killed me. And then not only did he check her out, but moments later he took out his phone and started texting her. One of the worst. Definitely a C tier scandal. Definitely one of the more blatant examples of how big of a piece of shit Goose is. And that was what really started to kind of push me away and into a scandal that was all me. It was all me and one other individual who doesn't really get wrapped up in scandals very often, because who could ever blame him? Who could ever hate him? He's a rock star, and that's what he does. What kind of rock star are you if you haven't been in a few scandals? So long story short, I'm not proud of it, and I can't say a lot about it because I signed an NDA, but the first time KK Slider showed up on a Saturday, I went with him instead of Goose that night, okay? I'm not proud of it, but I was lonely. I didn't have Pompom. Goose is a piece of shit, and I did cheat on Goose with KK, okay? I wouldn't consider KK like an ex. He was more like a fling. We parted amicably, and I wish him nothing but the best. But that's an A tier scandal for sure. The only reason it's not an S is because it didn't really do anything. Goose did not give a fuck. I'll be the first to tell you, as much as I feel like a piece of shit for doing it, I'm not normally a proponent for infidelity, but Goose couldn't have cared less. He couldn't have. Not if he tried. I was more upset about it than he was. Okay, so I assure you Goose is fine. But at that moment, it was definitely what I realized was the end of our relationship. And after that, more or less, I started really missing Pompom, and we became friends again, which I wouldn't consider a scandal. So me and Pompom becoming friends again, it happens a lot. So I wouldn't count that as any type of scandal. It just is something that happens after a scandal. It's the rainbow that comes after the storm. Bella joined our community, and she was cool. I like Bella. I'm always going to have a little bit of love in my heart for Bella, but she and Pompom did not get along. Bella was very quick to incriminate Pompom and to come up to me, Pompom's friend, and to tell me that Pompom was a problem for her. That was jarring, because I had never had another girl like Pompom, another peppy villager, come up to me and start spewing drama, especially the moment when Bella just completely flipped the switch. That was the moment that I realized, oh God, I think Bella's a little bit dangerous. I think she's gonna be drama. And that moment, it's probably just a D tier. I don't even think if you ask Pompom who Bella is, she would remember. So at this point, things are complicated between me and Goose. I would say that we were still talking at this point, but things were complicated. And I was honestly just hoping for a hero. I was holding out for a hero. And I was checking the campsite every day to see if a hero would come and sweep me off my feet. And there was one day in particular that I was just like, God, please don't make it be Goose. I don't want to end up with this man. Please, I'm too insecure to be alone right now. But I really don't want to be with Goose, so send me an angel. God, send me an angel. And on that day, in my campsite, God was dead, because my least favorite villager, who knows, he must know by now, because I've made it known. It's not a secret. Okay, everybody knows how I feel about this villager, and yet he showed his warty ass face in my town. It was Wart Jr., and he was so petty and gross to me. He broke me down to nothing, to a nub, to a splinter that day. And I'll never forget it. I will say that while others will forget it, I certainly won't. And so I can't necessarily make it like an S tier situation. It's at the very least a B. The day that I saw Wart Jr., I'm not even gonna lie, I wouldn't pin myself as someone to commit a crime against the life of another individual, but on that day, I thought about it. I thought about all the places on my island that I could hide a body. on that day because he showed up and he was just like, he had his fucking little drink and he was like, are you depressed? Interesting. So not long after I discovered the grotesque situation in my campsite, I am not going to lie, I broke down. I ran to Goose and I needed him to validate me. I was in a vulnerable place and I needed him to validate me. So I offered him a gift and in return, Goose gave me a pig nose. He really did. He gave me a pig nose, which is about the last thing that you give a girl when she's upset. He gave me a pig nose, and I'll be honest, even though it was a little thing, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. And at that point, I was done with Goose. So I would put that in the B tier too. The day that Wart Jr. showed up and then Goose gave me a friggin' pig nose to make me feel better was the day that everything changed. Because not long after, Gloria left. And the whole entire situation of Gloria even living on my island is the scandal. And I would say that that's an A tier thing because I'll never forget that Gloria was on my island. She didn't leave no matter how hard I tried. She taught me a lot about perseverance and, this too shall pass type shit. So Gloria finally left. I could finally go out and take villager hunting seriously. I could finally go out and focus on finding my favorite villager. Kyle. Kyle. Wait till we get to Kyle. He has saved my life and our island. He's just such a blessing. But you can see that he's in a few of these scandals as well. We'll see what for in a minute. But basically, Gloria leaving was a turning point in my life and in the island. And I would almost even say that it might be an S tier, actually, because it was really a turning point. It was the catalyst to everything changing, to my situation getting better, to Kyle joining our community. You know what? It's an S. It's an S tier scandal. Just the Gloria situation leading up to her leaving. That's an S tier scandal right there. So the day that Gloria decided to move out was the day that I got a campsite villager that I actually was a little bit interested in. And again, I'm a desperate piece of shit. So even though I had my sights set on Kyle, I had my heart set on Kyle, when I saw that Fang was our campsite villager, I was like, yep, sold. But I didn't know how the campsite shit worked. I didn't know that you had to beg these people to stay. So I played his game with him, I lost, and then I invited him to the campsite and he rejected me. And that was not what I needed in that moment. Okay? It sent me into a spiral, okay? Because I liked him a little. I was starting to kind of, I would say, imprint on him, kind of just latch on to him because Goose was a shithead and he was the first dude that I saw that wasn't Goose. And so I latched on to him and he totally rejected me, and I didn't know that if you kept pestering them, they would eventually stay, and it was the worst day of my life. It sent me into a spiral, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm glad that it happened because if it hadn't, I wouldn't have Kyle and I wouldn't have had my big villager hunt that I had not a lot of fun going on, but I did at the same time. But it became a whole thing because I spent over 800 tickets and it was awful. And I ended up just having to find Kyle on Reddit. Anyway, long story short, Fang, I'm glad that it didn't work out. It's like be thankful for all the things that didn't work out in your life because they led you to what you have now. That's Fang for me. I would say that's a C level scandal because I was sad about it for a whole week. So while I'm hunting Kyle, mind you, it took me 2 weeks to find him. So for 2 weeks, I was looking for Kyle, high and low. There was a lot of things that happened in that 2-week period. I feel like it was just a time of unrest for us because we were 9 villagers instead of 10. And it was just this time of unsettled energy that was just floating around. So Pompom and Daisy got in a fight. And this was the moment that I realized just how calculating and petty Pompom was. Not that I didn't know that to begin with, but Pompom was like, I got Daisy a gift because we were fighting about who has the best fashion. And so I got her an article of clothing because she's concerned about fashion all of a sudden. So I want you to go and give this to her. Thanks. And so I give her this article of clothing, and in the middle of July, this bitch, Pompom, gifted the clueless Daisy, the normal villager Daisy who has no idea what she's actually doing, a mariachi outfit. I couldn't believe my eyes. Pompom had sunk to a new low, but I loved it. It's a moderate thing, but we do still think about it to this day. But I would say it's something that is mostly forgotten because it's just how Pompom is. It was the first of these scandals, but it's honestly just typical Pompom. So I'll put it in C for now. Another thing that happened, Pompom related, is that Pompom pissed off Benedict for the last time. This was one of the last times I even saw Benedict before he decided that he was done with our island. And I don't even know what happened, but it was one of the most epic Pompom moments of all time. She looked at this man, she gave him the up down, and then she walked away. She turned her ass around and she said, "Not today, Benedict." And Benedict had a meltdown and he ended up stomping around town for like at least a half hour like that, just begging someone to ask him what was wrong. And Pompom, unbothered to say the least. She casts out her line. She starts fishing. She's watering flowers. She's painting her nails. She's having tea outside her house. Benedict is stomping by. And Pompom's like, yeah, Pompom just further cemented herself into my heart. But I think honestly, this ended up sending Benedict away, which I have nothing but gratitude for. And so I would say that this is also, I would say this is a B. This is a good B because, yeah, this sent Benedict packing and it led to another nightmare. We'll get there. We'll get to that. So while I'm looking for Kyle, things are turbulent, to say the least. Pompom is on an absolute rampage and my heart is so fragile. It's so fragile. And I'm just trying to survive, and people are getting in fights as I'm looking for the love of my life and spending 800 tickets out on the road. And so there were quite a few scandals, as I said before, during the Kyle hunt. One being Goose went to Phoebe and told her not to go visit a friend who was having an emotional crisis because they could handle it themselves and it's none of your business and it's not your job to help your friends get through emotional crises. When Phoebe just kind of out of the blue was like, yeah, I'm going to go visit a friend. They're just having a hard time. Goose just went on a tangent about basically like, oh, depression's not real. You just need to go outside and get fresh air. And that was the moment I was like, thank God I'm really committing to finding Kyle because Goose ain't for me. Goose ain't for me. And he wasn't for Phoebe that day either. And that stuck in my heart. And that was like the moment that I was like, I know that no matter what happens, come what may, even if Kyle never even existed and it was all just a figment of my imagination, I know it'll never be Goose. Never again. Never again will it be Goose. However, wasn't the worst thing Goose ever did. I would say that was probably a C. Daisy also had a few moments, one being that she and Bella got into this huge blowout. And Bella was just kind of a mess all over the place. I think Bella's biggest fault was that she just didn't think before doing anything or saying anything. And so a lot of the time she pissed people right the fuck off and had no idea. She would walk away, somebody would be fuming and she'd be like, what? What are they so mad about? And she would have said something like highly offensive. And so I guess one day she really pissed Daisy off, like more than I've ever seen Daisy. Daisy had a magnifying glass and I don't know still to this day what her intentions were with that magnifying glass, but she was pissed and she did not calm down easy. Let me tell you, it took her about 45 minutes to calm the fuck down. I think she was out for blood that night. I really do. This was just a classic Daisy meltdown. One that won't soon be forgotten, but isn't that big of a deal. I would say it's a C. But that was one of Daisy's biggest meltdowns. She was just down the street for like 45 minutes with the magnifying glass. I'm like, Daisy, ma'am, calm down. She wouldn't. She refused. I don't really know what Bella did, but I think that Bella's life was at risk that night. I really do. Anyway, speaking of Bella, we know that Pompom's go-to petty revenge move is to gift her enemies something humiliating. She'll do it to girls who are stupid enough to wear it. And she did that with Daisy with the mariachi mariachi outfit. And then me and Pompom teamed up because Bella had pissed Pompom off for the last time. And so we gave Bella a jester hat. I just remember that being so funny because Bella was so pleased with herself. She was like, they gave me a present. And we were like, Bella, we're being bullies. And she did not care. And if anything, it kind of backfired on me and Pompom, but it mostly made us laugh. So I would say it's a C. We look back on it fondly. It's not a huge deal. We're not constantly thinking about it, but it's not forgotten. Eventually, things became right once more in my heart and in my life, and Kyle finally came home. This is over 800 islands. This is every villager back and forth. Like, I saw Dell, the boat alligator, 9 times. Okay, so I don't want to talk about trauma because I know what trauma is. And finally, after all of my hard work, Kyle was home. And he's done nothing but wrap me in love since he's come home. He has done nothing but make me a better person and make our island a better place since he's arrived. He really has been just a complete and utter blessing. And so I would say that Kyle coming home was not a scandal. It was a monumental event. It was an event that shaped our island entirely and changed it forever. But the scandal involved with Kyle coming home was how Goose reacted to that. Because Goose is the type of guy that doesn't really appreciate what he's got until it's not his anymore. He wants what he can't have. And so as soon as Kyle took me into his loving arms, Goose was not having that. So I'd say that the first week or so that Kyle was home, when me and him were just the vision of love, Goose was a mess that week. I had to get him medicine because he got sick. I didn't have to do that, but I did it out of the kindness of my heart. He was a mess. He was falling apart, and I knew that a breakdown was on the horizon. So I would say not just Kyle's arrival, but Goose's reaction to Kyle's arrival. That's an A. I'll never forget that. That was sweet, sweet revenge. Okay? I'll tell you, revenge is a dish best served cold. And that chicken was cold that week, let me tell you. That was some cold ass chicken. Okay? The week after that, after Goose had gotten his shit together a little, he had cleaned up his act, he took a shower, he did something else that the town could not stop talking about and still has not stopped talking about, I will say. He tried to reinvent himself. I kid you not. Since Kyle moved in, Goose has been trying to reinvent himself, and ooh, it's so cringy. He does not need those glasses. He got those glasses at Claire's. They have no lenses. Back for more? Sweetheart, no. Hey, I'll hang out as long as you're willing to put up with me, baby. Goose, do you ever shut the fuck up? Have I ever set foot in Bella's place? What is that? Why would you say it like that? Yeah, I've been to Bella's. Oh, he's trying to make me jealous. He's trying to make me jealous. That's awesome. Yeah, that yerba mate drink she makes, it's really, really good, baby. You know what? I love that for you. That was a solid B. That was a solid B. Yeah, that was nice. That was what I deserved. After all the pain, that was what I deserved. But moments later, days later, unfortunately, I did find him on his shit again. This time he had enchanted Daisy. Daisy. Oh, she's got it bad too. All he's gonna do is push you, girl. Oh my God, Daisy, I'm gonna be praying for you. See, you are in deep, girl. What have you done? What have you done? And she's loving this. She's like, anything else I can get you? Did you want to play a board game? He's like, no, I'm good. He is so fucking rude. He's a cretin. Oh, here he comes. Oh my God. I'm pushing her out of the way. There he goes, yet again, making himself right the fuck at home. If you haven't realized yet who this boy is and what he's all about, girl, you know what? This is your bed and now you get to lie in it. Messy. Messy. Daisy was tripping for him, and I'm pretty sure that her whole little obsession with him is over now, but for about a week straight, Daisy was obsessed with Goose. I would like to forget it, but right now it's still fresh on all our minds, and it hurts, I'm not gonna lie. It was around this time that Benedict left, which was a blessing, and I went on a villager hunt and found who I thought was gonna be one of the most wonderful, positive members of our community. Sherb, little Sherby boy, Sherbington, McSherb face. This little baby Sherb, this newborn baby Sherb. I thought, surely he could hurt no one. He's Sherb. How wrong I was. I have an entire picture of Sherb that I added to this. You may or may not have noticed. For all the shit that I have to spill about Sherb. Sherb has been a monumental event, I guess. He's been a monumental event for my island, for my community, for my people. Sherb has been an event. Not always a good event. But anyway, I invited Sherb, and I felt protective of him. I felt very protective of him. It's almost like my motherly instincts like took hold of him at first, and I loved him. I genuinely loved this boy. So when I saw Goose attacking him, making him cry, making him feel like shit, I went into mommy rage mode. I really almost killed Goose that day. I almost wrung his neck and had a luau in the town square featuring Goose on one of those rotisserie things, a rotisserie chicken, if you will, with an apple in his mouth. I really almost did it. I'm almost glad I didn't, because knowing what I know now about Sherb, it would have been a fruitless effort. I think it would have been exactly what Sherb wanted, actually. And I will say that out of everyone Sherb could have targeted, I'm glad it was Goose. But Goose was a piece of shit that day. I would say that that's a solid C. The day that Goose attacked Sherb was a solid C. Not long after that, Kyle was involved in his first scandal. And I will say that Kyle's first scandal was pretty adorable from an outsider's point of view. I know that it was turbulent for him, but this scandal that Kyle was in, he's only been in 2, and they are so indicative of his character. It's kind of not even funny. Kyle was in a scandal with a grasshopper because the grasshopper was the assailant. Kyle was the victim. Kyle is passionate about singing and music. He sings in the town square every single day. He's committed to his dream of becoming a musician. And on this day, a grasshopper, a lowly peasant grasshopper, decided to try to steal Kyle's thunder. Can you fucking stop showing up, my man? You ain't shit. Kyle, I'm sorry. Look what you did, piece of shit. You really do not fucking quit! Get out of here! This is the most underwhelming sing-off I've ever seen. Yeah, I would honestly leave at this point. It's very embarrassing for you. Don't worry about him. Don't think about what he's doing. Keep doing your thing. Kyle, don't worry about him. Don't worry about him. He's leaving. He's leaving. You don't have to fight him. No. I don't want you getting hurt. I'll take care of it for you, okay? Shut the fuck up. And this grasshopper sent Kyle into a spiral. I'm not gonna lie. Kyle wasn't himself for the whole weekend. I would say about a good 3 days that this affected Kyle. This grasshopper and Kyle, they definitely did have a spat in the town square. But it was one of the most wholesome spats overall. I was definitely very angry at the grasshopper for hurting the love of my life so very deeply, especially in the middle of him trying to do what he loves most in this world. For somebody to try and impede that, it was devastating to us, and it shook the island, and it shook Kyle, and that's all that really matters. And so this grasshopper is currently in a cage in my house, a trophy, if you will. And I will never forget this, and Kyle will not soon forget it either. So that's a B scandal for sure. For sure. But the assailant is in jail, I can assure you. I have him in my living room, the exact grasshopper that caused this situation, locked up where he can never hurt anyone again. So not long after that, I would say it was Dramageddon for us. I would. Because you know how I feel about Goose. Pompom is my best friend. My best friend. Pierce is her boyfriend. So while I knew that Goose and Pierce had been friends in the past, I knew how it worked. It was jock shit. They were swapping high intensity interval training tactics and shit. It wasn't real. And I thought that me and Pierce were certainly closer as his girlfriend's best friend. You know, I thought we were like this. And you know how Dramageddon usually happens? There's like one thing and then it kind of comes to a head with another thing, like another revelation comes out quickly after or whatever. It's usually like at least a two-parter, and that's how our Dramageddon worked. Basically. Because first I had gone to Goose's house probably just to pawn off something on him, because I went through a hoarding stage. Some of you may remember where I just needed to get rid of a bunch of shit. So I would give it as gifts every day. And I probably went to his house to give him something dumb. And Pierce was there. And I was a little taken aback, and I just kind of didn't know really what to do. I actually ended up consulting the internet, and I was like, what do you do when you go to your ex's house under completely like professional circumstances, nothing nefarious, and you see that your best friend's boyfriend is still hanging out with him, even though he knows full well how toxic he is. I was just a little bit confused by that, but I tried so hard to hold on to the benefit of the doubt, that like maybe they were just doing stupid jock shit. He's the only other jock on the island. I guess I get it. So when it came to finding Pierce and Goose together, I would say that was probably a B. I wanted it to be a C or even a D, but it was probably a B. It did hurt, but nothing hurt quite as much as when just days later, I was excited to see Pompom. I wanted her to know how much I loved her with a gift. I was actually just doing the hoarding thing again, reducing my hoard, trying to give her as many gifts as possible, but still, I always made sure it was something good for my hoard, I assure you. So I popped in to see my best friend Pompom, and there was Goose in her house, and she knew. I would say that's an A. It hurt me deeply. I don't know, I was just like, wow, I guess I can't trust these people anymore. I can't trust anyone anymore except for Kyle, apparently. That's not a good feeling. You want to have friends. It's not healthy to just have your boyfriend as your friend. You got to have other friends. And so to lose Pompom and Pierce that way, that hurt. I just didn't know what to think. I really didn't. And I think a couple weeks went by where we didn't talk. And then because we are all so toxic, we just kind of forgot it. And we decided we wanted to be friends again. And now we're friends again. I don't know. I don't really know how that was resolved. I think it was just like Pompom was like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, we really don't like Goose that much. It was just kind of a thing. He came over. We were like using him. And I was like, whatever, it's fine. I really don't care. Anyway, it was Dramageddon, but now we're over it. It happens, Sometimes you just have a complete and utter falling out of epic proportions. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, I'm bored of this. I want it to go away. So that's why it's not an S, even though it was a big deal. So around this time, I'd say, is when Sherb first started showing signs that maybe he wasn't as stable or as sweet as I had hoped or thought. It started kind of slow with him just kind of disappearing all the time. I had a new villager that I wanted to get to know, that I wanted to love, that I wanted to develop a relationship with. And yet I could never find this boy. I just couldn't find him. I couldn't seem to track him down. At any point, he wasn't in the museum. I would search every single square inch of my island and to no avail. I couldn't find him. And I was just like, this is really weird. Like, I don't know where this boy is. I don't know if I should be concerned, if I should try to call in backup. Like, I don't know what's going on with this boy. And then he started asking to move out. And the first time he did it was weird because I had never had a villager ask to move out so soon. I think he had been with us about 2 weeks when he first started asking to move out. And, this was like as soon as I brought in another villager and he wasn't like the newest one, he started asking. And I was like, sure, my God, like, can't you give us a little bit longer to impress you? I feel kind of like this is very sudden. Like, you haven't even finished unpacking yet, Sherb. And he was like, yeah, I guess you're right. And he just kind of kept asking, but it was in a way that seemed ingenuine. And so I started to catch on. He's asked to leave like 4 times. I'm not kidding. 4 times he's asked to leave. Daisy, the villager I want to leave, you see that? You see my eye? That's because it's a 0. It's a big fat 0. I want Daisy to leave. It's nothing against Daisy. I love the girl. I've been trying to get this bitch to leave for God knows how long. She has no interest in doing so. Sherb, however, has asked to leave 4 times. One more time and I think I'm going to let him go. Not going to lie to you. Not gonna lie to you. But this sent me into a spiral, and it also sent me into a state of wondering. I wondered if Sherb was all he said he was, all he portrayed himself to be. And I want to say that if anything, this might actually be an A. It kept me up at night, and it still does to this day, actually. Because I'm like, what did I do wrong? Was I not enough for him? Was the island not fun? Is it ugly? Like, am I ugly? I start overthinking everything, and you can't do that to me, Sherb. You can't do that to me, Sherb. There's other villagers that have been on my island this whole damn time, and they haven't asked to move. Kyle has never asked to move. Daisy has never asked to move. Pompom hasn't asked to move in months and months and months. Pierce has never asked to move. I just don't get it. I do take it very personally. I started to think maybe he's doing this not so that I let him move out. Maybe he's not interested in moving out. Maybe he's just trying to manipulate me. Maybe he wants me so badly to beg him to stay that I start showering him with gifts, doing favors for him, bending over backwards for him. I won't get into it right now, but it's just something to think about. On the day that I brought in our beautiful and dramatic ass queen, who surprisingly hasn't had that many scandals under her belt, but I haven't really been playing as much lately just because I have it on a day where a villager can get kicked out, and I'm just waiting for my capture card so that I can kick out Daisy so that we can do our Anka hunt. It's a long thing, but I think that Blanche has a lot of scandals ready for us. She just hasn't gotten to live her full potential yet. I'm excited to see what she brings to the table. But for now, on the day that I brought her in, I was giving gifts out to everyone, and I hadn't done this. This is all me. This is all me. I'll take full accountability for this one. But this did haunt me. I didn't realize I've never done this. Not in any of the games before this. And not in this one. I have never done this. But I re-gifted something to Goose. And I'm glad it was Goose. I'll say that. I'm so deeply, deeply gracious to whoever and whatever was out there looking out for me that day. When I decided on a whim to just try re-gifting something. I didn't really have a gift for Goose when I thought I might have. So I was like, I'll just give him something that's in my inventory. And I was looking through my inventory. I was like, pretty sure he gave me this, but it's something that he would wear. So I'll just give it to him. And he called me out for that. He called me right the fuck out. He noticed right away. And for me, for an awkward ass fucking anxious girl like me, that was it. That was it. That was enough to make me contemplate just leaving, just packing up a few essentials and just fucking getting the hell out of there forever, leaving my whole life behind. I wanted to change my name and get the fuck out of there and flee and go somewhere else where no one knows my name and no one knows that I regifted something to Goose. It'll haunt me for the rest of my life, but it won't haunt Goose. I think that he's long forgotten. So as much as I want to put it up here because it shook me to my core, this is a C event. It didn't hurt anyone else. No one talked about it. It wasn't the talk of the town like I thought it would be. I surely thought that I would be plastered on the front of every newspaper the next day. Local woman regifts something. I don't know. I was so scared, but it didn't end up that way. Thank God. Thank God. But it still really affected me deeply. Anyway, not long after that, we had Blanche come join us. And then the fireworks festival happened. And that was a whole thing. It was already a really stressful night for me because you know how I feel about fireworks. Kyle wasn't really out. So I went to go check on Kyle and I saw a surprising sight. Blanche spent most of the night on our first fireworks festival of the summer looking through my boyfriend's window. I kid you not. You can watch the fireworks video. You'll see what I mean. She was looking through my boyfriend's window all night long. And that was weird for me. So she spent, there's this beautiful spectacle in the sky. It's pretty attention grabbing, but yet all of her attention was focused in and around my boyfriend's residence, his private residence. And that to me is a little bit scandalous. I'm not going to lie. And I did tell others and we talked about it for a good while. However, I would say that since then, Blanche has not showed any other troubling signs. I wouldn't say that it has stuck, but it really did rock our community. And I'm still, it has forever tainted my view of Blanche, at least for now. I do feel like I can't trust her. I do keep a close watch on her. I try to give her the benefit of the doubt and hope that maybe she just didn't know that Kyle Kyle was in a relationship, that she thought he was single and for the taking. But it's still being talked about to this day, and we are still, me and Pompom, are still kind of watching out for her. So I would say that it was a B scandal. It was the talk of the town for a while. Next, we had a couple of pretty crazy situations just from the last video alone. First of all, I was trying my best to move Daisy out. And so when I saw Kyle with a thought bubble, my world imploded. It fell to pieces. I was like, oh my God, he wants to leave. What did I do wrong? I blamed myself. I should have never blamed myself, but I did. And then he ended up confessing to me that no, it wasn't that he wanted to move. He would never dream of leaving my side, because that's my boy. Instead, he was anguished over a prank war that he had begun with Marina. Because I have Marina as well. I know she hasn't come up in this video, but Marina is on my island as well. She is a blessing from heaven. The heaven, the one and only heaven, that's Marina. She's never been in a scandal. I know you see her picture here. It's not about her. She was the victim. She was the victim in this situation as well. I guess they were in a prank war, and Kyle was beating himself up because apparently it got out of hand. It went too far. Words were said. Feelings were hurt. I still to this day don't exactly know the extent of this prank war. He felt awful. He was just anguished. He wanted me to deliver her a gift and his sincerest apologies for whatever happened, whatever transpired in this prank war. Marina was more than receptive and also apologetic in her role in the prank war. And I just found this to be such a scandal that was needless and completely unnecessary, but was made into this big, huge thing by two of the least problematic members of our community. And this is the extent of their type of scandal. When you're unproblematic, this is what a scandal looks like for you. So I can't minimize the fact that this for them was big. This was a big deal for them. Not for me, not for anyone else, but for them. I don't think that Kyle is going to forget this. I don't think that Marina is going to forget this. And so I'll put it in B. I will. In that same vein, there was a few other things that happened. This thing happened. There's Sherb again. Weird. It was a scary moment with Sherb and Daisy. And although no one has any answers as to what happened, we talked about it for about a week. It was a scandal, I will say. We were all like, did you see what happened in the town square with Sherb and Daisy? What the hell was that? Even though it was a scandal, I'll say that most people forgot it. I certainly didn't, but most people have. They've gotten over it, especially with the recent developments in Sherb's behavior. I'll put it in D, even though it happened, and I acknowledge that it happened and that it was scary at the time. We have other things to worry about, especially with Sherb. So that'll be a D. I was trying to get rid of Daisy and I was time traveling. So 2 situations occurred because I'm very nervous about time traveling. I don't like to time travel. I really don't. I just had to try to get rid of her because I thought I was going to be able to go on an Anka hunt until my capture card broke. It's this whole thing. It should be in soon, I promise. We'll see. Anyway, I time traveled 2 weeks. I know that people time travel so much more, but for me, that was huge. And when I got back, Lily was distraught. She was distraught. It was an awful situation. She was in tears. She thought that I was purposely going out of my way to avoid her, to not talk to her, that we were in a fight. This was a scandal. She is so insecure that she thought that we were in a fight because I was gone. I had disappeared off the face of the earth. So for Lily, it was a real scandal. But I will say, this is the only time Lily has ever been in any type of scandal. You might not have known that Lily was on my island until now. And that's because she is an unproblematic, sweet, good, beautiful, wonderful, perfect, iconic, talented, brilliant, gorgeous neighbor. She's never ever been in a scandal, and I hope that this is her one and only. And more than anything, I hope it can be a D. I hope we can move past this and forget it ever happened. That's what I'm hoping. And by the looks of it, when I speak to Lily, I feel like she and I are close enough where she would be honest with me if this was still bugging her. When I tell you I got on my knees, I told her, Lily, no, you are wrong. I have thought of you every day. Every minute that we've been apart, I've been thinking of you. And I explained the situation to her and she got it and I think it went away. Quick scandal that did hurt feelings, but those feelings were quickly repaired. Another thing that happened, another troubling thing that happened when I got back from my 2-week sabbatical trying to get rid of Daisy with time traveling shit, was that I went to go check on my friend Marina and found her on her deathbed. She was taking her last breaths. She was so ill, she was so sickly that I had to run as fast as I could to the store to get her medicine, like fucking Balto, to get her that medicine. I got there in the nick of time and I saved her life. I had to resuscitate her. It was so devastating. I'd never want to see Marina like that again. It was just, I just don't think these people can handle island life without me. I can't be time traveling because clearly they can't handle anything. Marina almost dies. I tried to time travel for 2 weeks, 2 simple weeks. I think these people can handle themselves. I'm sorely mistaken because Marina almost died. She got friggin' polio. I don't know what she got. I don't know what she had. I had to fucking resuscitate her. She was like, I was like, Marina, oh my God, lay down. She was like crawling towards the door, trying to get help. Nobody had checked in on her. The fact that she had probably been like that for a week and no one noticed that she hadn't been out and about, no one went and checked in on her. These people can't fucking do it without me. That's the moment that I realized that I can't be out here time traveling because these people in my town can't take care of themselves. Bianca, I haven't mentioned her this whole time. She's never been in a scandal. She's completely unproblematic. But I will say, this is a little bit on Bianca. Bianca is a close neighbor to Marina, and the fact that she didn't notice that Marina was dying, that alarms me. That was a big deal for me. I'm going to put that in A. My friend Marina almost took her last breaths. Thank God I got there in time. Thank God. Thank God. I will never forget that. So last but not least is Sherb. This isn't a scandal per se. It's a situation. It's more of a situation that I need your help with. I have been receiving accounts from others around the world who have also dealt with mysterious and quite frankly alarming, disturbing behavior from Sherb. I am not saying that Sherb is a bad person. I think that he's a lovely, beautiful little boy. I love him like he's my own, like I born him myself. I love that little boy. I just feel like he might be the Antichrist. He is exhibiting such terrifying behavior on my island, and it just continues to escalate. This boy is scaring me. He's talking about cryptic situations. He's been obsessed with the idea of lucid and astro-projectile dreams lately. He really has. He's been telling me like every day he's trying to get into my head and my dreams. He's trying to astro-project himself. He's trying really hard to hurt people, I think. He's just like, he's telling people like Marina and Lily who are innocent that they're in a simulation, and he's freaking them out. They're coming to me crying, saying that Sherb told them that this is all a simulation. I'm like, Sherb, you know what? It might be a simulation, but Lily doesn't need to carry that. Marina doesn't need to carry that, especially since she almost died on y'all's watch. She doesn't need to carry that. Sherb is disappearing for days at a time, like we've talked about. The flowers in his area seem to always be trampled. That's weird. He just says weird things. He makes weird faces. He's always like, he's making that sinister face constantly. He listens to KK Hypno really loud, and it's kind of just a foreboding, weird song. I think I've seen like a glint in his pocket. I think it's a knife. I think that he has things he's hiding. And I think it's all going to come to a head. I think, I think that I don't know what I think. I think that I am unqualified to handle Sherb. I think we need an exorcism to be performed by the church. I don't know. I don't know if Celeste can handle this, if she does exorcisms. It feels like something she would do. Or Katrina. Katrina could do it. I just don't know what to do anymore about this little boy. I would say that at the time, right now, Sherb is an S tier situation. He's not a scandal, but he's a situation. And I don't know how it's gonna end. I don't know if we need to get Zucker in here to handle him. Because in my world, in my canon, Zucker is an omniscient, benevolent alien with great power that he takes very seriously, and I think that he can protect us from whatever evil is living inside my little baby, my little boy Sherb. I just don't know what to do anymore. You know, it's I'm like a parent who needs to go on Dr. Phil, and I think in the coming days, as we finally find Anka, she might bring balance to our community, or she might just topple it entirely. I think it's actually one or the other on opposite ends of the spectrum, and I'm looking forward to that. But for now, this is what we've got. We've got, you know, a good little bell curve here. We really do, and I like that. I like that a lot. We've got a beautiful little bell curve. I didn't go too heavy on the S, you know. A lot of people abuse the S, not me, not I. So yeah, we will have lots of scandals to come, whether or not they're on TikTok is to be seen. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is my first tier list. It was really fun. I'm sure I'll do others at some point. Yeah, I don't know how to end these either. So I'm just gonna, Appa fell. How long ago did you fall and I didn't know? I'm sorry. He fell. Are you okay? Anyway, yeah, thanks. Bye. Big, huge, obnoxious shout out to all of my patrons. I love you guys so much. Y'all are seriously like my friend group at this point. I mean, come on, look at me. Do I look like a person who has a lot of friends in real life? This has been monumental for me because now I have like a whole entire Discord server of bestest buddies, and I get to have a sleepover with you every single night, and we have so much fun in there. Like, seriously, what did we do before we had the Discord? I don't even remember. Anyway, if you would like to come hang out with us at our all-day, everyday sleepover, party, extravaganza, then head on over to my Patreon and come hang out with us because we're having so much fun, and I don't know what I would do without all of you. I love you so much. If you ever need a kidney, just a reminder, hit me up. I got your back.